I've mentioned Jeanie McIntosh's driving skills before, or rather lack of them. Her special ability, and I use the word special in its modern context, to get lost over short distances, has only been matched throughout history by Mark Thatcher and the crew of the Marie Celeste. Rumour has it that Jeanie McIntosh owned a GPS once, but after several hours of having to constantly readjust the route, it told her have it your own way, you daft old bat, and threw itself out of the window. To be fair to Jeanie McIntosh, it's easy to get lost when you've got your head stuck up your own backside. On the upside, because of her appalling sense of direction, we often find ourselves in unexplored villages that we've never heard of before. On the downside, there's usually a good reason why we've never heard of them. Anyhow, here are some of those Ordnance Survey forgotten places that we mistakenly ended up in, filmed on the off chance that we never found them again, and then predictably never found again. If you could help us place them on the map, it would be much appreciated. Let's start off with this memorial to some Australian pilots who crashed their planes, presumably by accident, into the fells during World War II. We've no idea where it is. Somewhere up in the mountains is the best that we can manage, and there's rather a lot of them in Lancashire. There are dead World War II pilots all over the place round these parts. The war never really reached such out-of-the-way locations, but the mountains themselves can be extremely spiteful and fought back regularly. Like I say, we've no idea where this memorial was, but it was somewhere close to the amusingly named Bustard's Farm, if that's any help. And we've got this massive Tuda Mansion somewhere in some woods, although we couldn't say where exactly. We couldn't film it properly because it was fenced off and under restoration. Apparently, 2 dog walkers noticed it in a derelict state when they were passing one day, as you do, and set up a GoFundMe account in order to restore it to its original splendour. Wish we'd had that idea. Let us know if you recognise it, it could be yours. Then there was this quarry. We end up in quite a few quarries. God only knows where this one was, but it was quite dramatic in its own way. Next up we have this church. It's not a very attractive building, being it austere and Victorian, but it proudly boasts a huge bell which presumably is far too large to fit inside, much like Eric Pickles at the Parliamentary Members Only Club. It's also got one of those wall-mounted sundials and this rather odd construction in the graveyard. We've no idea what it is or where the church is. Answers on a postcard to the usual address, the wheelie bin round the back of Marshmill Thornton, please. Somewhere in the same general area, possibly, lies this instantly forgettable village. Bisected, if somewhere so insignificant could be said to be large enough for a proper bisection, by the Canal. Not the Lancaster Canal. I know the old lanky like the back of Jane Seymour's 6-fingered hand, and it hasn't got any locks on it. That's because it's a contour canal and far too classy for such rubbish. No, this must be the Rochdale Canal, or possibly we'd strayed over the border into Yorkshire, although that seems unlikely because none of the residents appeared to be inbred. On which note, it's probably best if we end this episode.